Now that the radio's playing well, I decided to pull out all my Philco globe tubes, including the rather hard to find Type 42 output tube in the globe style. Hard to find because they didn't make them for very long. Shortly after these were introduced, they switched to the ST shoulder type tubes like this. Now, I was going to fire it up and record some footage, but the Type 80 rectifier seems to have died on me. I'm hoping I just need to touch up the pins. I already tried once, but it's not working. So I'm going to try it again. I should get a resistance of like 1.5 ohms, and I've got about 35 ohms. So it'd really be a drag if it was dead. I think it's the only Philco 80 I've got. Not the end of the world. I've got plenty of other 80 tubes, but I did want to have a full set of the same style. Alright, I think I got it. Gotta be careful with these globe tubes and don't be hasty to write them off as being bad. I've resurrected quite a few globe tubes by just touching up those pins. Yep, I got it.
I must beg you to pardon this intrusion, Master Eden, but the Council considers the matter of the greatest importance.
It's all right. Now, what is it you wish?
If we could speak alone, perhaps.
I have no secrets from the lady. She knows everything. Now, what is it?
I am empowered by the Council to ask you to return...
Monogram before you fill out the...
See if YouTube flags me again. They actually flagged my last video, even though I used a song right off the front page of Public Domain for You. So I immediately submitted a dispute to the claim. I've done that a few times, and I've always won. I just sent them a link to the website. I said, here it is, public domain. Got it right off this website, so please stop flagging my video. So if they flag this one, I'll just do the same. Alright, so I think what I'll do next, let's see what I can do about these transformers. I think the trick is to get the first plate out, the first couple out. That'll relieve the tension. So you can see this is an E section here, or this way, so it's like that, and then there's a piece going through the center. So I need to well, give it a whack, I guess. Either that one or this one. And start knocking these plates out. I think they're made... I don't know if all the pieces are the same and they just flip-flop. Well, I guess they can't be, because you don't have any gaps in the sides. Only these outer pieces are E-shaped. I'm not sure what the interior plates are shaped like. But you can see how they alternate. And there, it looks like they use 2 of each kind. Yeah. So two of the same shape orientation. And then they alternate back and forth. I'm going to do the same to this. So, that'll be tedious, but I figured out. It's something I haven't done before, so I was like, experiences with this restoration stuff. And then these guys. If you recall, I had a third one and I experimented with that, and I ended up just doing like I do the electrolytic sometimes, and get a small screwdriver and start uncrimping the base and pull the insides out.
sharp enough. My claws ain't sharp enough. I break down with you, baby man, but I don't get on my happy black knees. Someday you're gonna need me, mama. Where when I won't need you. Someday you're gonna need me, mama. Where when I really won't need you.
I finished getting that one plate out. I continued to tap it until I got to the point where these openings were just past this edge, and then I just put a screwdriver in there and kind of yanked it out. So now I can see how the rest of these are. So it looks like it's alternating ease sections, and then they use this on the opposite side. So now I got another E to get out. See all the rust in there. So now I can't really do the same trick as the others because there's just, well, I can maybe just tap it a little bit to get started. There's just not much sticking out. That loosened up pretty quickly. And now put a screwdriver in here, maybe. Don't want to really put a lot of pressure here because I don't want to damage the core, the windings. That would kind of defeat the whole purpose of this endeavor. Alright, well, I will guess I have to go like this. Try to whack it on the sides a little. Take the radio chassis off my workbench, get it out of harm's way, but now that I've got it wired into the speakers, see the problem with this, the way they originally designed this system is you can't just pick up the chassis and move it because it's hardwired to the speakers. That's why they switched to that connector in later revisions. If I had a helper with me, I suppose someone could help me carry it, but I don't. I'm by myself right now, so can't pick up both the chassis and the speakers at the same time. Nor do I want to undo all that wiring, electrical tape. But I suppose I will have to if I want to try this transformer, assuming I can. But I really hope these start getting easier as I go, otherwise this is going to take a long time. What happens is as I tap on each side, it moves down a little, but it also twists a little, so it kind of keeps racking back and forth. Do exactly the same thing on the other one, and then put all the plates back in. Maybe I can do that. It's sliding past it and just kind of getting wedged in there. Well, I just realized now that it's past the end, I can just do this. Alright, 2 down. I'm at the point where they have 2 of the same type. So there's 2 E sections here. I did not realize this thing was so rusty on the interior. Good. Yes, it's all falling apart now. Excellent. That's exactly what I was hoping would start happening. Alright. Actually isn't too bad. Yeah, I could throw these all in a Vapo rust and then put this back together with the same plates. Man, something rusty. Now, it's also possible the other one that I might be able to find a break. It might be near the end of the winding or something. So maybe I should have taken that one apart first. Oh well. Then again, maybe it was good to practice on this one first. Kinda grungy. Okay, now it's time to take the other one apart. I took a razor blade to get underneath these little bits of metal there just to get them pried up a little bit, then switch to a flat blade screwdriver and pry them up just enough to get this out. I don't want to flex them too much in case I break off from metal fatigue. And now I got to get this out. I don't want to bend these out too much. I don't want to flex it here. But that is in there pretty tight. So that's what holds wedging all these plates together. What I'm trying doing, see if I can get something in here. Pop this apart carefully. Might have to bend these sides out a little bit. Oh, okay. Opened up pretty easily. This side's a bit tighter. This one I got pried open. Okay, this one's going on too. Alright. Okay, it's coming. Oh, better stop right now before I do something really foolish. I need to unsolder these wires. If I keep prying this, I'm going to end up ripping the... Well, then again, this core is bad, but still holding out hope that I might be able to find the break in there and repair it. Which could be tricky now that I think about it, because I bet the secondary is on the outside and the primary is on the inside. So I have to unwind that. Anyways, let's get this thing taken apart first and I'll examine the coil more closely. Alright, this one's coming apart easier than the other one, but it is quite rusty, so I will be chucking these in the Vapo rust after all. Just gotta get this section out, and then, like the other one, I think it'll just start falling apart.
It's pretty pea soupy out there, man. Just be careful. What the hell, man? Hey, Fly Jams Friday coming up in a little bit. Right now, though, we're talking about the word is right. That's Traffic Jam. And then DJ Shagru is going to take us through some Fly Jams. I've selected some Fly Jams that we haven't heard yet. And I know that we get repeat songs, which is fine because that's the celebration of Fly Jams. So So Fly Jams Friday will continue, and we'll do that in a little bit. 312-981-7200 is the phone number. Right now we're talking about remote droppers. Those are movies that no matter where they are, what you are, you're flipping around on cable, there they pop up, boom, you drop the remote. You watch them every time. Let's go to the phones. Here's Mike on WGN. Hi, Mike.
Good morning. How are you today?
All right.
One of mine is just got to be Top Gun.
Oh, boy, really?
Exactly. I can't draw it in. I mean, I think that
It's just rusty on the outer edge, it would seem.
That time of the that it came out, it was just a very interesting movie, and just draws me every time. The music, the whole shot.
Well, you know, the flying sequences in that movie are great. They're really top.
Oh, you know, it occurred to me that there are places, or at least one place, that will rewind a transformer, so I could like send this to them, and they would like reverse engineer it and rewind it. Save these.
I think the Navy recruitment went up like 65%.
They were only taking the top ends of the top end percent after that movie because they could.
Yeah. All right, Mike, thanks for the call, man.
You're welcome.
All right, buddy. Top Gun.
I guess I really don't have anything to lose. I can just start unwinding this. Just,
Yeah.
for my own curiosity, if nothing else.
I guarantee you.
Maybe I need to see it again. I remember liking it in 8th grade, but
Yeah, well, because you're not 13 anymore, yeah. Eric says if any of the Ocean's movies are on, 11, 12, or even 13, I stop and watch. They're just so much fun.
I actually might want to reuse some of that on the other core, which is
One in Italy. That's 12,
in the
right?
greatest
12?
condition.
I really like that movie, and everybody hated it. In fact, it might be my favorite of the three. Rudy, Goodfellas. See, there you go, Ted. All right, Sal. Thanks, man.
Yeah, check that out. That is some small wire. It's like 40 gauge or something.
Hi.
I got good ones for you. Godfather and Al Pacino and Attica.
Hey, you know, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, Dog Day Afternoon. The Dog Day Afternoon is such a great. The Godfather. I have a lot of texts in front of me, and The Godfather is on like many of these pages of text. The Godfather is definitely, for many people, a remote dropper. Not so much for me. I never was a huge Godfather guy. I really love the first
Well,
one.
I'm going to spend a whole lot more time with this. I mean, I can see now, but
Except for Andy Garcia, who I thought was great.
very
The
thin
second one, I
wire.
have issues with the second one.
Somewhere in all this, there's a break, which is so many turns, and I'm sure there's quite a few layers as well, so.
I'll be with some dudes, and they'll throw some lines out, and I'll go, what's that from? And then they look at me
Yeah,
like,
forget it.
"Should be killed."
Alright, so,
Recognize it,
now I gotta take a break because
you know.
I am going to let some of these soak to get rid of the corrosion, so I guess I'll pick up on this tomorrow.
Swift's older sister. Well, I don't see that.
And now we wait.
They don't look alike, but they have a similar
Wow,
look.
man. I don't know, I'm not going to trust you. You don't like Huey Lewis.
Real quick, Emma Stone aside, did you see what she and Andrew Garfield did to the paparazzi?
I figure while I wait for the rust to dissolve, I will work on the capacitors. So as I had mentioned, I experimented with a third one, which I uncrimped all around the base. And I think an easier way to do it is to just take out the end entirely, so that's what I did here. This is hard rubber, so it's actually not too hard to just like take like a sharpened screwdriver or knife and just kind of plunge in here and start just gouging it out and breaking it up, and that's what I did on this one. Here's what you find inside. It's capacitor plates. The blue is from the copper sulfate that was in here originally. It had completely dried out and crystallized, so I ran some hot water through here and got most of it cleaned out. And here are 3 of those 2.2 microfarad caps hooked up in parallel, and they fit down inside. I wish I had more of this large diameter heat shrink tubing, this stuff, but this is all I've got left. So I just took off a piece to put around the end. It's the only place where these two sides come close. So I arranged these capacitors such that 3 of them I could connect close together, so that this is one side, and then here is where the others joined up. I use red and black, but this is not polarized. You can hook this up either way, it doesn't matter. Now I could take the black and solder it to the copper and use that for the negative like the original would have. However, these capacitors do not connect to the chassis. They do not connect to ground. The originals would have had insulating paper around here. I may do that if I can find something to replicate the look, but I'm not going to rely on that to insulate this electrically. I'm going to leave this. This can be grounded to the chassis. I'm not going to connect either side of this to the can. It's just strictly for appearance sakes. So since I don't have any of this tubing, I'll wrap some electrical tape or something around it because I don't want these to short out against the copper, of course. Meanwhile, I'll look around and see if somebody sells the stuff. I think it's 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inch diameter, something like that. So I got this one to dig out, some more caps to rig up, get them both put down inside, and then for the end, I'll figure something to seal it off. I don't want to do it like, I don't want to use epoxy or something in case somebody ever needs to get inside here again. Maybe some hot glue, I don't know. And then mount them down in here. Of course, go around like that and wire them up. I removed the rust from the few pieces that had rust on them. And maybe I shouldn't have. Got a comment on the Philco forum that the iron oxide, well, rust, would add some additional insulation between the pieces. Because it's something that I knew in the past but had kind of forgotten about, is that the whole point of these laminated cores is that they are insulated from each other. That's why they don't just use a solid lump of iron. That's to reduce eddy currents. So, as you may know, you got an varying electric field going through some iron. It will induce current in it, which will generate heat, and that's just a loss. So it's something you really want to reduce. All you want to use this for is just to transform the primary currents to the secondary currents. You don't want to generate electricity and current and wasted heat inside of the core itself. So there's a couple tricks they use to reduce that. One is the stuff this is actually made out of. If you ever take one of these apart and feel this, it doesn't feel like regular steel, like say a chassis would. You kind of hear that when you clink them together. There's something weird about these. Well, these are high silicon steel. What that does is they retain good magnetic properties, but it increases the electrical resistance. And then they split them up into these sheets. Now, to insulate them, apparently there are a bunch of techniques they've used over the years. I guess the earliest is just to coat these in an organic insulator like shellac or varnish. But I don't think these were coated with that. I mean, they sure don't look like it. So other techniques involve using various chemical baths, which I think is what they did here to create an insulating layer on them, because you can see that this looks like it's got some kind of something or another on it. And on the ones that I put in the evapor rust, you can see it's kind of down to shiny metal now, so I've probably lost whatever kind of insulating was on there. So I thought about doing a light spray of something like clear enamel or something like that. But the downside is, if you put a coating on it, it increases the thickness, and one, I won't be able to get all the cores back in, and two, increasing the distance between these plates, sure, then you get more electrical resistance, but it decreases the magnetic properties. I think they call it the stackability or something like that. So you want to keep them as close as you physically can with as much electrical resistance as you can. Well, I think enough of these still have their original coating on it. I'm not going to worry about it. Worst case scenario, it won't work at all, which may not work at all anyways, or it just may get a little bit warmer, be less efficient than it was originally. But since this is all kind of just an experiment to see if this is even possible, I'm just going to go with what I've got. So I took some reference photos so I got some idea how to start. I think basically you just start with one of these like so, and then go to then start going in pairs. So next it would go like this, and then two of the, I think they call this the EI or the IE type core. For obvious reasons, you got an I and an E, and then just build it up like so. And we'll see if I'll really be able to cram all of these back in. I think I will, or at least I'll get within maybe one of these. Things are going together smoothly on some of the pieces that had been fairly rusty. I'm smearing a little Bow Shield in there. I figure it'll not only help to prevent corrosion from coming back, but it will add a little insulation. Now, I was starting to put some of these eyepieces in, and I noticed this one was flaking a bit. The piece actually came off. So this, I believe, is whatever coating is on these to add that electrical insulation. So why don't we actually check out what the insulation resistance is like on these. So here's one. It's fully intact. Just go from like one end to the other. It's pretty darn conductive there. It's basically no resistance. I was not expecting that. Should just very lightly touch the tips. There's not much resistance there at all. And then here's the one that's kind of cleaned off. I really don't see much difference there, so I don't know. I don't know what this seems to be a coating on them, but it doesn't seem to be adding really any resistance. Now it might be so thin and so fragile, just me touching with these probe tips is kind of going through that insulating layer. On the other hand, if I don't touch very hard, then I'm not making very good contact, so that's a little misleading as well. Ah, well, I'll just keep going and putting it back together, and we'll just see how it works out in the end. I'm making good progress on reassembling the core, and I finally noticed that two of these are not like the others. They are longer. So most of them are like that, and this is longer. And of course, those are the ones that go on the ends. And from my reference photos, I know that they go like that. And the one on the other side will go like that. And not surprisingly, the two outermost ones are the ones that are also the most corroded. So you can see a little pitting on that. I sprayed some T9 on that, and hopefully not only will that retard the corrosion, but I'm also hoping that it will fit in there by the time I get to the other side. Alright, got a few more to go. We'll see if they all fit. Well, it actually turned out to be far easier than I expected. There's plenty of room to get all the plates back in. So now it's just a matter of cramming in the eyepieces. I left them out while putting this together because I knew without tension they would just be falling out anyways. So, just pair them up and shove them in. Now if you look really close, you may notice that, so we have the two outer pieces, and then they're doubled up, except for here. There's only a single piece, and I think when they build these, they probably just start at one end and just pack these in until it gets too tight, and then finish it off. So I imagine that's why there's just a single on that end. Now it's also possible that since this is a core from the other transformer, that maybe this one just had a little bit more wiggle room. anyway, so if I tried hard, I could probably actually cram one more plate into this. That's curious too. That one just slipped in there real easy. This piece of metal is noticeably thinner than the others. That's odd. I'll leave that one off for now. Maybe I'll even grab one from the other transformer. That just doesn't seem right. So if I was using the one that was that thin, it's going to fall out. It's not going to fill the void properly. I think you get the idea. So this whole process was actually far easier than I thought it was going to be. So once I get this all crammed back together, the final trick will be putting this back on. Because that's what, that and this piece is what really holds everything together. So now it's a matter of, I'll take the rust off of that before I put it on. Once I get all those eyepieces in, will I be able to cram this over? Well, without the eyepieces in, hey, maybe it's not such a bad idea to leave it like that, and then start sliding these in from the side. So what I was going to do is put all these in, and then try to squeeze this together and pop this on, but maybe it's easier to leave that on and do this. And maybe that explains why there's one thin piece. Maybe that's the last one you put in. But as I said, there's rust in there, so I do want to pop that off and get the rust out. Just going to see if this idea has some merit. So would I be able to cram 2 more in there? Yeah. But once I do that, the other side I can see it's kind of flaring out a little bit. I'll be able to squeeze this side together. On this side I will have to put the eyepieces in before I can put this back on. And actually, you know what? I think I might have this backwards. Yeah, in fact I know I do, yeah. This goes on here because those fine wires attached to this. So, oh, no big deal. So this actually should be going on here. Which makes sense because this holds the open E-pieces together. It's got that lip that goes over. And then this is going to have to fit over these. Yeah, well, if I do end up using that extra thin piece, I'll put it on this side because that's going to be the trickier one to squeeze together to fit this over. Getting close. Oh yeah, that's got some nasty corrosion in there too, so better get to work on removing that rust, and then I can finally pop this all together. Here's the frame for the audio output transformer after it's been derusted, given a coat of primer and a couple light coats of black enamel. Then I'll give it a light sanding and spray on a little more, and then can finally try it out. Here's one fully rebuilt electrolytic cap. It measures about 6.38 microfarads. The originals were 6, so that's just fine. Got one more left to go. I'll pop them in down here. They go into these 2 holes here, and they wire into where I've got this electrical tape right now. And one other thing I think I'll do is, I was never too crazy about these half-watt light blue resistors. I used them at the time because I had them on hand. The originals were all dog bones, and I suppose I could cast some replicas. I've done it before, but I don't have the materials on hand. It's a little expensive and time-consuming. But what I do have are a bunch of these. which are modern Vichy 2-watt metal film resistors that look a lot like half-watt carbon comps. And I can put them in here. Not so much just for the look, but also these are thicker leads. Some of these components are kind of floating in space, and that's really how this was originally wired up. And these have really thin leads on them. So I think I'll be a little happier putting these guys in. These guys. Thicker leads. I think they're longer leads too. And I think it'll work out better. Here's the refurbished output transformer. All hooked up, ready for test. But before I do that, I gotta wire this set back up. Namely, putting these caps back in. I just finished polishing them up again, and now I'm going to shoot them with a little clear specialty lacquer and then install them, and now we should be good to go for a test power-up. Here are those rebuilt copper caps mounted on the chassis. Not only did I polish these up and clear coat them with lacquer, but these mounting brackets I also cleaned up. They're cadmium plated as near as I can tell, and I just wiped them down with some navel jelly, and that's how they came out looking. And I put a little dollop of black hot glue on top to seal them off in these little vent holes. Alright, so that is that for the filter caps finally. Alright, ready for power up. Got the copper caps wired in nice and neat down here. And the output transformer is wired up, so without further ado, it's a good sign. Checking the current draw over here too. Sure got a loud hum. Something doesn't seem right. It's a loud hum and the volume control wasn't having any effect. So, I'll double check my work. Pretty sure I got everything right over here though. It's pretty simple. You've got the right transformer. Obviously there's the secondary output, goes right to the voice coil. Push-pull is a white and green wire. Same with the filter caps. Pretty straightforward wiring. So one filter cap goes to one side of this, other filter cap to the other side. Two negatives come together right there. And here's the rectifier. The wires are kind of crumbly from that, so I replaced them, but that's a 5-volt filament and also the pick-off for the B+. So from here over to the transformer, 5-volt supply, and then over to here to one of the capacitors. Well, I just noticed one problem. One of the 42 tubes isn't lighting up. This guy. So it's kind of odd. I'll try swapping them around. I double checked all my other wiring and everything looked fine. So I'm not sure if, say, one of these did burn out, what effect would that have on the push-pull output? Would it make it hum like that? I don't know, but it can't be good. Let's see how does this go in. Now it's lit up. Alright. It's 30 socket contact. Sounds more promising.
The CTS Corporation left, so they missed the window by...
And to have devotion to
Cool.
a sacred heart. It's very simple. What the player, you always have to come in and earn your
But this radio just keeps throwing me new challenges.
Because they haven't received price yet.
Somewhere in the universe.
You think? I think they don't.
You just can't find much music on the dial.
I feel like it would.
That'll do for now. So, obviously the rebuilt transformer works. How well it works. Well, that'll be hard to say. It's a little too much work to keep flipping the two transformers back and forth to do like an A/B test. I was curious to see if it was getting any warm. I'll let this run for a while and see if it gets hot. My thinking being that if there is an issue with the oxide coating on the plates having worn off, the core could get saturated. I don't know if it would get warm or the audio would sound distorted or both, but my just quick over-the-air test seems to be fine. And obviously the filter caps are working. I'll fire up my own transmitter to get a cleaner signal going. So where does that leave me? Assuming this transformer keeps holding up, I'm inclined to keep using it. I'll have to install another screw. I just have one up top now. I did start removing rust from the speakers. I got this one pretty well cleaned up. A little more work to do on that one. And then I'll, as I said, mount this output transformer more securely and reinstall cover. This guy. This cable should be threaded through the center of this hole. I'm going to clean some corrosion off of this too. And then this screws down over these two ears. And then I got to transfer these speakers into the cabinet. Alright, seems to be working just fine. So I'm going to cut off the video here and start working on putting this back in the cabinet, and hopefully the next installment will be the final one. At least on the electrical restoration. The cabinet restoration, well, who knows, someday I'll get to that.